I the a-hole for calling my ex a deadbeat in front of his family? I, 41 female, have a daughter, Sam, 14 female, with my ex-husband, Brian, 44 male. We divorced when she was 4, and Brian made a real effort to be a good father for the first couple of years after that. But then pretty much overnight, he seemed to lose interest in her. He stopped coming to parent-teacher nights, never came to any first sport games, and stopped asking about them. Refused to pay child support, which I eventually stopped asking for as I have a well-paying job. Would forget to pick Sam up on days he said he would, and stop asking to see her at holidays. On the rare occasions he remembered to pick her up, he would try and smooth everything over by buying her expensive gifts. And it's worked for a really long time, but it started to wear off now and Sam is starting to see through it. Sam has maintained a very close relationship with her paternal grandparents. Sam is a very accomplished field hockey player and represented our country internationally recently, and it's likely that she will be on the World Championship team later this year. We returned 2 days ago, and yesterday, her grandparents wanted to take her and the rest of the family to lunch to celebrate. Brian showed up 45 minutes late, didn't even apologize. His parents were surprised and told him to behave. Then as Sam was recounting her time and summaries of the matches to her grandparents, Brian interjected and belittled her performance because she only scored 1 goal. Sam burst into tears and ran to the bathroom. I comforted her and she asked if we could go home. I agreed and told her to wait in the car while I got our stuff. When I returned to the table, Brian was defending himself against his parents, and I just snapped. I told him he was a deadbeat and recounted all of the things mentioned above, and that I wouldn't be surprised if Sam cuts him loose one day. That our daughter is wonderful and does not deserve to be treated like this. His parents seemed shocked, as he clearly had given them the impression he is a good father. Then he threw a tantrum and stormed out. I apologized and left money for half the check with his parents. Since then, Brian sent me several messages, and his parents texted to say they don't appreciate the scene I caused in the restaurant. I don't think I did anything wrong, but my parents agree with them. So maybe I did? Am I the a-hole? You shouldn't have made a scene in the restaurant because they shouldn't have created a situation. So much not the a-hole. Also, OP, go for the child support. Remember, it's not for you, it's for Sam. That's money that can help her someday. If you/she don't need it now, put it in savings for later. This, get the child support. If you don't need it, put it in an account for college, a car, a down payment for her first house. It's your/her right to have that money. It's the least he should do. After that BS he pulled, OP should go for as much child support as she can, and when he doesn't pay, let his butt go to jail. Let mommy and daddy see how great a father their angel is. Not the a-hole. Brian is a big-time a-hole here. Take him to court for child support, and then let Sam use that money however she wants to seek out the fullest life possible, like to help with her dream college, to spend on great travel experiences, etc. She deserves to benefit somehow from her farce of a father, and so do you, for showing up and being a good/loving parent to her. I plan on not claiming, since I'm lucky enough to have a well enough paying job that I can support us. I plan to tell her that before she turns 18, that between 18 to 25, she will then be able to claim all backdated child support, which will be about 12 years, I think, and it will be paid to her directly for her to use as she wishes. I don't think it's fair to let your 18-year-old kid go through the legal proceedings of getting backdated child support because he can't be bothered. You could easily fight to get the backdated child support and to get your ex to give the child support every month, but put all of that money in an account in your name until your kid turns 18 and give her access to it. Not the a-hole. You defended your child. Full stop. I'd respond to the parents and tell them you don't appreciate him belittling your child over a match he didn't even see, nor do you appreciate the fact he never sees any and is never there. So before they want to continue coming at you for making a scene, maybe they should stop and reflect on why the scene was necessary. Next story. Am I the a-hole for ruining my dad's chances of winning my mom back? My 25 female parents are getting divorced after 24 years of marriage. My mother was basically cheating on my father for months before he found out. I put cheating in quotation marks because my dad was a horrible husband, so I was actually happy she found someone else. Once mom said she wanted to separate, my dad completely changed. He said he didn't want her to leave, begging her to stay, saying he will change. He actually got on medication for his depression, started being more affectionate and asked for couples counseling that he said my mom agreed to do. One day I go to my parents' house and my dad says he wants my help winning my mom back. We are in the backyard and mom is in the house. I told him no, because I want what's best for her and he's not it. He said that he has severe depression, and saying that is bad without acknowledging how depression can affect a person isn't right. He said he was disappointed because if the genders were reversed, I would admonish him for cheating and breaking the vow of marriage. Now, this is where I might be the a-hole. My dad is doing everything he can to win my mom back. So I said that while I won't help him, I wouldn't interfere in his plans and would stop talking about him with her, as me and my mom talk a lot about how horrible of a husband my dad is. At one point in the conversation, he says in a calm tone, I know you're not going to like this, but I'ma say it anyway. When one parent gives you gifts and takes you on trips and buys you things, of course you're going to side with them, even if they're wrong, because you don't want to lose that. This made me so angry. I have a genuine friendship with my mom, whereas even though my dad was a fantastic father, stay-at-home dad, gave us everything we ever wanted/needed, I don't necessarily enjoy being around him. I hang out with him sometimes out of obligation, but it's very forced, and I know he can tell, and he's told me this hurts him in the past. I basically went off saying screw you, and how dare you, and that he had no right to question my character. And the reason I like my mom is because he's no fun, unmedicated, he's rude and rigid, and it has absolutely nothing to do with money. I am screaming, but up until this point, our convo was calm, and we were almost whispering so mom wouldn't hear. My dad keeps trying to shush me, but I don't let up. I go to my mom and tell her what he just said, and he keeps looking at me saying, why are you doing this to me? I can't believe you're doing this to me. We were just having a calm conversation. Then I say I'm leaving, and my mom gets in the car with me. Later, my dad says that after my blow up, my mom no longer wanted to go to couples therapy. Am I the a-hole for blowing up and making it harder for my dad to win my mom back? Edit. I'm editing to add that the reason I am so involved is because both my parents talk about the other to me. My dad started it first, and my mom only got involved when I asked her if she was mistreating him in the way he was claiming. But they both are wrong for this. Other important info, my dad told me my whole life that he has bipolar disorder, and that is why he was so messed up. I've sent him books and podcasts and articles and lectures for years about his disorder. I made my entire family start therapy 2 years ago. But I said that my only request for dad is that he get medicated because he knows he has bipolar disorder. He just laughed and said, I was waiting for you to say that. I'm not even bipolar. The therapist then got a little curt with me and said I shouldn't armchair diagnose just because I was a psych major, and my dad just nodded along. This is just one of his serious manipulations, but he does it to me often, and that's why our relationship is fractured. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. It was wildly inappropriate for your dad to request your help getting back together with your mom. Their marriage is their business, not yours. It's wildly inappropriate for the mom to talk to her about how bad of a husband the father is though too, and they seem to have been doing that for a long time. The whole situation must be so frustrating for you. I would stay out of it, OP. Have your relationship with your mom and a separate one with your dad. Both to whatever extent you do so choose. Both of your parents are using you as a mediator, and that is not fair at all. Having a healthy relationship with a parent and talking about each other's relationship is doable, but that's not what is happening. So set boundaries. If one of them starts talking about the other, cut it off. You already said they were both wrong for doing this, so you already know. They can vent to their friends or another peer. You're an adult, but you're still their child. Agreed. You're both totally right. Each parent is putting OP in the middle, and it's not okay. They need to figure their situation out on their own, not by dragging their adult daughter into it. Not a-hole. Your dad was trying to manipulate you and your mom, and you did the right thing calling him out. You didn't ruin his chances to do anything. He's been doing that for years, and just wants a scapegoat to blame his actions on. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not telling my girlfriend to cover up to spare my friend's feelings? I, 30 male, have a friend who invited me, my girlfriend, and a bunch of our other friends over to his house for a pool party/barbecue. One of the people attending was a good friend of mine named Christine, 37 female, who had given birth a few months ago. Christine had a hard pregnancy and developed postpartum depression, so she was looking forward to the occasion to help lighten her mood. Now, my girlfriend Alex, 26 female, is a model slash influencer, and as you can imagine, she's very beautiful. This is important. Everyone at a party is wearing some form of swimming gear. All of the guys are wearing trunks and tank tops or Hawaiian shirts, and the women are wearing bikinis or swimsuits. Alex stole the show, however. She didn't wear anything too revealing or inappropriate, but it did turn heads. While Alex was swimming, I was talking with some of my other friends when another friend of mine, Jane, pulled me to the side. She asked if Alex could cover up a little bit because Christine was getting upset by her appearance. I asked how, and apparently Christine's PPD has manifested itself into a bad case of body dysmorphia. She said Alex is making her jealous and triggering her dysmorphia. I was confused, but I said okay. Talked to Alex and she said that while she understood, she didn't understand why she had to cover up for the sake of someone else's feelings. Needless to say, she didn't do it, and Christine ended up leaving early 2 hours later. Jane came up to me and said Christine left because she couldn't stop crying. She also said that me and Alex are a-holes for not being accommodating to Christine's feelings. Now, while I understand PPD is a sensitive issue and that Christine is dealing with a lot, I don't understand how we're a-holes here. So I'll leave it to you, Reddit. Are we the a-holes? Now for the comments. Not a-hole. PPD sucks, and I have severe body dysmorphia. But I will never expect someone cover up for my feelings. Christine needs therapy. Having had PPD and body dysmorphia, I sympathize. But I just avoided situations like this prior to therapy, and now have had enough therapy to deal. My mental health issues aren't my fault, but they're my responsibility. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. I'm a mom who has given birth twice, once to a singleton and once to twins. It didn't matter what your girlfriend wore, Christine was going to get upset with someone. It wasn't your girlfriend, it was the environment. Christine wasn't ready. As long as your girlfriend didn't go out of her way and have the intention of upsetting Christine, there's no a-hole in the story. Christine is going to have to get comfortable with her new body and can be tough. That's some inner work she has to do. It's no one else's responsibility. It's a pool party. Christine wasn't ready. That isn't anyone else's fault. Maybe just do brunch next time instead. Also, when you don't have control over something that has to do with ourselves, we often unknowingly try to assert that control elsewhere. Christine likely feels like she doesn't have control over her own body, so she tried to assert that control over your girlfriend. It probably wasn't malicious or thought of, but something to keep in mind. I wouldn't tell Christine that though, lol. Not a-hole. You asked Alex and she elected not to cover up. Furthermore, if this were an issue where someone was uncomfortable because they found the appearance of someone else's bodies very unappealing, then asking them to cover up would be out of the question. Someone shouldn't have to cover up because they look too good. Excellent point. Also, it's a pool party. People aren't generally going to cover up unless they are super pale like I am and need to protect their skin. The only time policing someone else's body is understandable is if they visit holy religious sites. Last story. Am I the a-hole for donating a bunch of hand-me-downs my sister-in-law gave us instead of letting my kids wear them? My sister-in-law has kids who are a few years older than mine, and she was kind enough to keep some of their clothes aside to hand down. We've graciously taken a lot of the clothing over the years. Some of them end up as rags, some of them have been donated, etc. Well, this past month she handed off a bag of clothes for the summer. I sorted through the clothes, but there were unfortunately some clothes that I don't really encourage my kids to wear. To be clear, the thing that I don't encourage is clothes advertising something, a brand, media, etc. My kids understand this, and know that rule is that I am not going to buy them any of that crap. But if they want to use their own money, just so they can parade around advertising someone's brand for them, I don't stop them. And yes, me and their father model this behavior as well. My husband donates his company-branded fleeces as long as he gets them. Anyway, when my sister-in-law saw the donation pile had a bunch of her offerings, she got mad. She told me that it's a direct insult to her and her generosity. I told her that the clothes will still get used by someone, and she told me I was being draconian and snobby, and that my kids are afraid to express who they are inside. I admit that when she said this, I did laugh, because my son is one of those kids who goes to school with nail polish and does things like slam poetry and chalk drawing clubs. Well, that's the issue. Am I the a-hole for donating some of the clothes for my sister-in-law all these years? Oh, just to be clear, For clothing donations, we actually donate directly to a church in our neighborhood who does clothing drives. I think that's worth noting, because places like Goodwill and the Ark have been marking up prices due to thrift resellers. You're the a-hole. You do sound quite snobby, and you describe accepting the clothes graciously than using them as rags, which is not gracious at all. OP, when accepting the clothes, the first thing you should ask if, after I go through this, what do you want me to do with the items we don't need? Return to you or donate? That way, it's crystal clear what your intent is, and sister-in-law can have the clothes put to use the way she desires, which may involve skipping over you entirely. I give hand-me-downs to my sister for her kids all the time, and I preface it by letting her know to pick what she wants, and donate the rest so she doesn't feel obligated to keep items she doesn't want/need. You're the a-hole. Why take clothes if you're just going to give them away? Why not just say, thank you for the clothes, but I think these should go to someone else? Also, your reason for your kids not wearing them makes absolutely no sense to me, since every article of clothing has some brand on it, lol. Also, why force your kids to not wear them when neither you or them are paying for them? They should get to choose to wear them or not. Looking at the clothes I'm wearing right now, and not a single item has a visible brand name anywhere. You're the a-hole. Stop using your kids to express your political/worldviews. Their aunt was generous, and they probably would have enjoyed the clothes. Not only was it ungracious and rude to sister-in-law, but it's excessively punitive to your own kids to enforce this policy even on items you haven't purchased. Especially since OP claims the kids can buy name-brand clothes with their own money. They can do that, but can't accept free gift clothes from a loving aunt?